Shalom and welcome to the Light to the Nations channel. In this video today we will continue with the part number 2 of the study of the last days, where we are creating a timeline with the sequence of events of the end times. In the part number 1 we already review and we answer an important question about why so critical and important to be alert and being studying and watching about the last days and the prophecies of the last days. You know, we saw directly from the word of YaHuWaH the instruction and the commandment from Yahushua himself, telling us that we need to watch at all times, because by watching, by being sober, by being awake, we will know at what time, what hour he will come for the second time to this earth. And we also saw directly from the scriptures that if we are in the darkness, if we are sleeping, if we are not watching, his day, the day of YaHuWaH, and the second coming of Yahushua will come as a snare, will come as a thief in the night, and we won't know at what time he will come. So we saw several passages in the scriptures and several instructions that we need to be alert, we need to be watching, we need to be in the light. And being in the light, we will know the times and the seasons. We will understand the prophetic calendar of YaHuWaH through the Moedim, because the Moedim are the prophetic calendar for his bride, Israel, and we are part of Israel. So it was an important question, and this was a kind of introduction before moving forward with creating this timeline of the end times. And this second part is also part of the introduction before moving forward with the prophecies, but it's also a very important topic that I wanted to share with you, because we will talk about how to find the proper interpretation of prophecies directly in the scriptures. You know, as well as I understand, and maybe better than me, that there are so many interpretations, there are so many studies, there are so many people talking about the end times, and it has been the reality throughout the years, that sometimes this is creating confusion. We hear one position from one person, a totally different position from another one. So this creates some kind of confusion, and we don't know what to believe. And I have been telling you throughout all the studies, all the videos that I have been sharing with you, first, I am not the owner of the truth. None of us is the owner of the truth. The only owner of the truth is YaHuWaH, and he's revealing us in his word, in his divine, in his scriptures, that his truth is here. His truth, his Torah, is a lamp for our feet, and Yahushua said that the word of YaHuWaH is the truth. So we don't need to rely on men, we don't need to rely in anybody else, because I also shared in one of the studies that anybody that is trusting on men and not in YaHuWaH is a curse. So we need to put our trust in YaHuWaH, and anything that we are studying about the prophecies, anything that we are studying about the last days, and actually anything that we are studying from the scriptures about any topic, we need to rely only on this, and we need to rely only on the Ruach and in YaHuWaH in order to find the truth. For sure, we need to listen every input, because YaHuWaH is using us. He's using men and women in order to deliver his truth, and this has been the reality since always. He's acting through men and women. So that's why we need to receive the input, but we need to take that input and research ourselves directly here in the word of YaHuWaH. So we will talk about this topic, and this is the part number 2 of the study. Let me share with you the presentation. So we will talk about the Ruach, the spirit of prophecy. And before moving forward, as I'm telling you and inviting you, please take your scriptures, because you don't need to only watch this video, you need to study. And my invitation is that you read along with me the scriptures, because this is our food. We need to get our own food directly from the scriptures, and the only way to do it is reading by ourselves. So, as always, in case you have any question after the study, you can send me the email to lightoeverynation@gmail.com, and I will do my best to help you to answer the questions. So, let's move on. We'll try to do it short, this one as well, just to go directly to the point. So let me share with you the screen, and we will start right away. So the part number 2 of this study, as I told you, we will talk about the Ruach, the spirit of the prophecy, because we need to understand how to find our guidance to interpret the scriptures, and specifically how to interpret the prophecies of the last days. So let's move on. First of all, the first point that I wanted to talk to you is about a warning and also a key. That is important to keep it in mind for all the studies that we are going to do in this series, and also any studies that you are doing by yourself or any study that I'm sharing with you. So let's start first with the warning. And we have this warning directly from the words and the letter of Kepha. This is in Kepha Bet, the 2nd Peter. This is in the chapter 1, verse 19 to 21. Kepha Bet, 2nd Peter, chapter 1, verse 19 and 21. And let's read what's the warning that Kepha is giving us. It says the following: "And we have the prophetic word made more certain, which you do well to heed, as a light that shines in a dark place." So we see here the prophetic word is acting as a light in the darkness, and we are invited. We are the son of lights. We are invited by YaHuWaH to be in the light and get out from the darkness. So we see the direct connection between the prophetic word and the light. Let's continue. "Until the day dawns and the morning star rises in your hearts." So this is very nice, the comparison here between being the light and the morning arriving. Let's continue in the verse 20. "Knowing this first," and this is the warning, what is I highlighted in red, "that no prophecy of scriptures came to be of one's own interpretation. For prophecy never came by the desire of man, but men of Elohim spoke, being moved by the Ruach HaKodesh." So this is the warning that we always need to remind ourselves, that the prophecy, any prophecy on the scriptures, cannot be done, the interpretation cannot be done by our own thoughts, by our own ideas, because the prophecies that the men of Elohim gave to us through the scriptures were inspired by the Ruach HaKodesh. So every time that you are listening or you are hearing any interpretation that is based just on the desire of men, just on the thought, the ideas, the conceived ideas of men, it's because we are having a huge risk to go astray, because we are not using the scriptures to interpret the scriptures. So this is the warning. Keep it for yourself. You need to use it anytime that you are studying the scriptures, anytime that you are listening to any studies, anytime that you are listening to any person. You need to be careful, and you need to receive this input, and as I have been telling you, you need to test it under the light of the Devar of YaHuWaH, the word of YaHuWaH, the truth. So non-interpretation by our own thoughts is a proper interpretation. So this is the warning that we need to keep in mind all times. So if we cannot use our assumptions, our own ideas, because this is the warning that Kepha is giving us, and actually it's the Ruach HaKodesh inspiring Kepha to giving us this warning, what we can do about it? So we need to be guided by the Ruach of prophecy. This is, you can think, this is your own idea, Juan Carlos. This is your own assumption. This is your own interpretation. What is the Ruach of prophecy? So we will see directly in the scriptures. Excuse me. Because we will see, and this is the key in order to find the correct, the proper interpretation, the Ruach of prophecy. So this is just my idea so far. We will see directly from the scriptures. So what is the Ruach of prophecy? And we see this directly in the book of Jason. This is Revelation. And we know, all of us know, that the Revelation is one of the main books in the scriptures that is talking specifically about prophecy. So it's a tremendous reference in order to understand, excuse me, understand about the Ruach of prophecy. So it is written in Revelation chapter 19, verse 10. It says the following: "And I fell at his feet to worship him. But he said to me," this is YaHuWaH having this amazing revelation. Give me a second. Okay. So, but he said to me, "See, do not do it. I am your fellow servant and of your brothers who possess the witness of Yahushua." This is also one of the key. "Worship Elohim," he's saying, "for the witness of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy." So, how to answer the question about what is the Ruach or the spirit of prophecy? It is written in front of our eyes in Revelation chapter 19:10. What is the spirit or the Ruach of prophecy? Is the witness of Yahushua. Okay? Sorry. So, the witness of Yahushua is the key to interpret the scriptures, because the prophecy, the spirit of prophecy, is what we need in order to understand and find the proper interpretation. And we see directly here that what is the Ruach of prophecy is the witness of Yahushua. So we need to understand what is the witness of Yahushua. And as well, it is written over here, we need to possess the witness of Yahushua in our heart, because having the witness and understanding the witness of Yahushua, we will find the proper interpretation of the prophecy, because we will possess the spirit, the Ruach of the prophecy. So this is the key. This is the warning, not to use our own assumptions, our own ideas. We need to use the spirit of the prophecy, the Ruach of the prophecy. We need to use the witness of Yahushua as a key. So let's move on. So how we can understand what is the witness of Yahushua? And this is very important, because it sounds very nice that, okay, let's use the witness of Yahushua because this is the spirit of the prophecy. So we need to understand very clearly from the Devar of YaHuWaH what is the witness of Yahushua. So we will review some text here that it will be much easier for us to understand what is the witness of Yahushua. So let's start with YaHuWaH. This is the book of John, in chapter 5, verse 39. And it says the following, and this is Yahushua speaking: "You search the scriptures because you think you possess everlasting life in them, and these are the ones that bear witness of me." So we see the direct connection here about the witness of Yahushua in his own words, that he's saying that the scriptures, the whole scriptures, bear witness of him. So where we can find the witness of Yahushua? In the entire scriptures, based on his own words. Let's continue. In Jason, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 1 and verse 2. And this is quite amazing. When I learned about this, I couldn't believe it, because it's in front of our eyes. And I'm gonna hide the text yet, because I want to make you a question, and it was the same question that was made to me a long time ago. Who wrote and who received the revelation of the book of Revelation? Who received all this information, this amazing vision and this amazing revelation that is written in the last book of the scriptures in Revelation? When I received this question, my immediate answer was YaHuWaH, John, the apostle. And most probably that's also your answer. But you know, we just need to read because it's in front of our eyes in order to understand who received this revelation, who received this vision, and to whom he delivered this vision. And this is written in Hason. In the chapter 1, it's starting in the first verse and in the second one. And it says the following: Revelation of Yahushua Messiah is the first statement that we see in the book of Revelation. Who received and who is the owner of this vision, this revelation, is no one more than Yahushua Mashiach himself. Everything that is written in the book of Hason, in the book of Revelation, is the revelation received by Yahushua HaMashiach. So let's continue. Which Elohim gave him to show his servant what has to take place with speed. So we see Elohim gave this revelation to whom? To Yahushua HaMashiach. And let's continue. And he signified it by sending his messenger to his servant Yahuhanan, who bore witness to the word of Elohim and the witness of Yahushua Messiah to all he saw. So we see how this was done. Elohim gave the revelation to Yahushua HaMashiach, and Yahushua HaMashiach sent a messenger to Yahuhanan, the apostle, with this revelation, in order for Yahuhanan to write about this. And Yahuhanan is saying here in the verse 2, who bore witness, in order to bear witness of the word of Elohim and the witness of Yahushua Messiah. So everything that is written in the book of Revelation is the revelation received by Yahushua HaMashiach. And in the words of Yahuhanan, this book is also bearing witness of Yahushua. So where to find the witness of Yahushua? In the entire scriptures, as it is said in Yahuhanan in verse 5. And also the book of Hason is bearing the witness of Yahushua. These are the places where we need to find the information or the input or the keys in order to have the proper interpretation of the prophecies. But let's continue. It is written as well in the book of Yahuhanan, John, this is chapter 5 verse 45 to 47. Book of John, Yahuhanan, chapter 5, verse 45 to 47. It says the following: Do not think that I shall accuse you to the Father. There is one who accuses you, Moshe, in whom you have set your expectation. For if you believed Moshe, you would have believed me, since he wrote about me. But if you do not believe his writings, how shall you believe my words? So this is Mashiach again talking, and he's saying that Moshe wrote about him. So it's also in the writings of Moshe that we will find the witness of Yahushua, because Moshe, in the words of Yahushua himself, wrote about him. So we see an additional confirmation of what we see in the previous text, that in the scriptures, from Bereshit to Hason, from Genesis to Revelation, we will find the witness of Yahushua. And it's this witness of Yahushua that we need to use in order to have the proper interpretation of the prophecies. And we have an additional witness, and in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses we need to establish any matter. So this is in the book of Lucas. I'm going to read it for you. This is in the chapter 24. Lucas, the book of Luke, chapter 24, verse 25 to 27. It says the following: And beginning at Moshe and all the prophets. So what's the context here? And you can read it the entire 24 in context. These are the 2 disciples of Yahushua that are walking to Emmaus. So a person meet them in the way, and this was Yahushua, but they didn't recognize that was Yahushua. It was after his resurrection. And he started to talk about him, about everything that happened. So that's the context just for you to understand. And it says the following. And beginning at Moshe, this is Mashiach talking to them, and beginning at Moshe and all the prophets, he was explaining to them in all the scriptures the matter concerning himself. So you see, Mashiach, Yahushua, after the resurrection, was talking with the disciples about the entire witness that the scriptures from Moshe and the prophets were giving about himself. Let's continue in the verse 28. We started in the 27. Let's start in the 25. And he said to them, O thoughtless ones and slow of heart to believe in all that the prophets have spoken. So Yahushua is endorsing so amazingly everything that was wrote by the prophets. Let's continue in the 26. Was it not necessary for the Messiah to suffer this and to enter into his esteem? And beginning at Moshe and all the prophets, he was explaining to them in all the scriptures the matters concerning himself. So again, Yahushua is giving us and is a second and a third and a fourth witness, telling us that all the witness about himself, we will find it in the writings of Moshe and the writings of the Nevi'im, the prophets. So if we want to find the witness of Yahushua in order to have the proper interpretation of prophecies, we need to look in the entire scriptures. This is the witness that Yahushua himself is telling us. And let's look in the book of Chazon, Revelation chapter 5, verse 1 to 10. Revelation 5, verse 1 to 10. And it says the following, And I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll written inside and on the back, having been sealed with 7 seals. So we know that the scripture in Chazon, in Revelation, is talking about the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 cups. Okay? So what we are seeing here in the chapter 5 is a book, a scroll, having the 7 seals. Those are the first 7 seals that we know that is basically every time that a seal is is being broken. And every time that this is happening, something is happening on the heaven or is happening on the earth. It's part of the sequence of events that we will be studying later on in this series. So these are the seals that the chapter 5 is talking about. So let's continue in the verse 2. And I saw a strong messenger proclaiming with a loud voice, Who is worthy to open the scroll and to loosen its seals? And no one in the Shamayim or on the earth or under the earth was able to open the scroll or to look at it. So we see that this scroll with the seals is so important that they were looking for somebody to open it, but nobody was found worthy to do it. Okay, let's continue. Verse 4. And I wept much, because no one was found worthy to open and read the scroll, or to look at it. And one of the elders said to me, Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of YaHuWaH, the root of David, overcame to open the scroll and to loosen its 7 seals. So we know that the Lion of the tribe of YaHuWaH is Yahushua HaMashiach. And we see here that the only one that can open the scrolls, the only one that can loosen the seals, the 7 seals, is Yahushua, nobody else. So we see that the only way to understand everything related to the seals, everything related to what is written in the scroll, in the front and the back of the scroll, that is the entire prophecy of the book of Revelation, is through Yahushua, through the witness of Yahushua, because Yahushua is the only one worthy and capable to open, to loosen the seals and to open the scroll. Let's continue. And I looked and saw in the midst of the throne and of the 4 living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, a lamb standing, as having been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 Ruachot, spirits of Elohim, sent out into all the earth. And he came and took the scroll out of the right hand of him sitting on the throne. And when he took the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each holding harp and golden bowls filled with incense, which are the prayers of the set-apart ones, the Kodeshim. And they sang a renewed song, saying, You are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals, because you were slain and have redeemed us to Elohim by your blood out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation, and made us sovereigns and priests to our Elohim, and we shall reign upon the earth. So we see that in this renewed song, even they are confirming the same thing. The Lamb of Elohim, Yahushua HaMashiach, is worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals. So the only way to have the proper interpretation of prophecies is through the witness of Yahushua, because he is the only one capable and able to open the seals and take the scrolls. So we have seen so far that all the scriptures give witness of Yahushua, as I said, from Bereshit, Genesis, to Chazon, Revelation. The entire book of Chazon is the revelation of Yahushua, is the revelation that Yahushua received from Elohim, and he himself sent it through a messenger to Yahuchanan. So this is also the book, the scroll, with the 7 seals that Yahushua is the only one to open. So we also saw from the words of Mashiach that Moshe gave witness of Yahushua. So we need to look in the Torah in order to understand prophecies, in order to properly use the witness of Yahushua, the spirit of the prophecy, to have the proper interpretation of everything. Also, Yahushua said that the Nevi'im and the Tehillim, Psalms, gave witness of himself. So we need to look in the Nevi'im, and we need to look in the writings in Tehillim, Psalms. The Nevi'im are the prophets, in order to have additional witness of him. Also, as we saw in the last passage in the book of Chazon, Revelation, Yahushua is the only one able to open the seals and read the scrolls. So we need to rely only on his witness in order to understand properly the prophecies. Okay? So, as it is written over there, we don't have to use our own ideas, as we saw in the warning in the previous slide. We don't have to use our own assumptions, our own conceived ideas. The only thing we need to use in order to have the proper interpretation of the prophecies of the scriptures is the witness of Yahushua, because the witness of Yahushua is the Ruach, the spirit of the prophecy. So, how to use this witness? And the way that I have learned that we need to use it is with the fundamental principles that Mashiach has taught us. So, what's the first principle that he was teaching and he is teaching us? Is that, and I have been telling you this in previous videos and studies, that everything that we want to understand and we need to establish as a truth, we need to find at least 2 or 3 witnesses. And where we need to find these 2 or 3 witnesses is directly in the scriptures. So, where we can find this information is basically in all these passages. So let's read each one of them. The first one is in the book of YaHuWaH. This is Matthew, book of YaHuWaH, chapter 18, Matthew chapter 18, verse 16. And it says the following, this is Yahushua talking. But if he does not hear, take with you 1 or 2 more, that by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word might be established. So these are the instruction of Yahushua. These are his words. This is part of his witness, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 people we have to establish any matter. So let's review again Yahuchanan using the same principle. We need to find 2 or 3 witnesses in the scripture. So let's review in the book of Yahuchanan. This is the book of John, chapter 8, verse 17. Yahuchanan, book of John, chapter 8, verse 17. And it says the following. And this is Yahushua talking again. And in your Torah also it has been written that the witness of 2 men is true. So Yahushua is referring here that in the Torah is written that the witness of 2 people is true. It's exactly the same thing. So where in the Torah? And I'm going to skip Corinthians Aleph. Let's go to Devarim. So we see the same principle that the Torah, the writings of Moshe, are bringing a witness, bearing witness of Yahushua, and Yahushua himself, he's referring from the Torah. So let's see what is written in Devarim. This is Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 15. Devarim 19:15. And it says the following. One witness does not rise up against a man concerning any crookedness or any sin that he commits. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, a matter is established. So we see that Yahushua is using the Torah because the Torah is bearing witness of him. So he's saying here, even the testimony of the Torah, that we need to use the testimony, the witness of 2 or 3 people in order to establish any matter. So the same principle, we can see it that Shaul was using it. So let's go to 1 Corinthians. This is Corinthians Aleph, chapter 13, verse 1. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1. Sorry, I think I made a mistake. It should be 2 Corinthians. Yes, 2 Corinthians is Corinthians Bet, chapter 13, verse 1. And it says the following. This is the 3rd time I am coming to you. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word shall be established. So we see that Shaul in 2 Corinthians, not 1 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1, he's using the same principle. He's using the same instruction from Yahushua, and Yahushua is using this instruction directly from the Torah. So we need to use it. In order to properly use the witness of Yahushua, we need to use this important principle. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, we need to establish any matter. So what's the second principle that he is teaching us? It's about the truth. What is the truth? And this is he's talking about in YaHuWaH, in the book of John, chapter 17, verse 17. And this is the amazing prayer that Yahushua did for his disciple the night he was betrayed. He was taken under arrest. So it says the following, chapter 17, verse 17. Set them apart in your truth. This is Yahushua praying to YaHuWaH, praying for the disciples. Set them apart in your truth. And he's saying, your word is truth. So we see directly here Yahushua telling us that the word of YaHuWaH is the truth. So where to find the proper input, the proper information to understand the truth of the prophecies is in the word of YaHuWaH. Okay? There is another place in Psalms. I'm trying to open this word to find it for you. It's the second witness that is saying that the Torah of YaHuWaH and his commandments are the truth. So let me see if I can find it for you, because again we need to use the same principle, that we need to find 2 or 3 witnesses in order to establish any matter. So let me see if I can find it fast for you. think it's in the chapter 119. It's in the chapter 119, verse 160 in Psalms Tehillim, and it says the following: "The sum of your word is truth, and all your righteous right ruling are forever." And it's also saying in the same chapter, in 119, 142, "Your righteousness is righteousness forever, and your Torah is truth." So we see amazingly how this is confirming the same principle from Yahushua, that the word of YaHuWaH, the Torah of YaHuWaH, the writings of the Nevi'im, and also the writings from the other prophets, Tehillim, Proverbs, and so on, are the truth of YaHuWaH. Okay, so let's continue. So again, where we can find a third witness about the Torah and the Nevi'im, the entire Tanakh, okay, the so-called Old Testament. We see in Matthew, the book of Matthew, again the words of Yahushua, his witness, in the chapter 5, verse 17 to 18. Chapter 5, verse 17 and 18. It says the following: Yahushua speaking, "Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. He didn't come to replace anything, to destroy anything. He's coming to complete what is written in the Torah and the prophets. For truly I say to you," says the verse 18, "till the Shemaim, the heaven and the earth pass away, one jot or one title shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done." So nothing is going to change, nothing is going to be done away from the Torah and the Nevi'im until everything, until the Shemaim and the earth pass away. So Yahushua is instructing us, and he's giving us his witness that everything that is written in the Torah and the prophets will be completed through him, and this nothing is going to pass away until the new Shemaim and the new earth. So we have a second witness from Yahushua in Lucas, in the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 17. Luke chapter 16, verse 17. It says the following: "And it is easier for the Shemaim and the earth to pass away than for one title of the Torah to fall." So again, he's saying and telling us that we must look for witnesses in the Torah and the prophets, because everything that is written over there will be accomplished, it's going to be fulfilled. So his witness is addressing us and sending us to look in the entire scriptures to look for the proper interpretation. And the important thing that we see over here is that not everything has been fulfilled yet. So that's why we need to look in the entire scripture with the principles that Yahushua is teaching us in order to find the proper interpretation. So we will take a look on this, how we can confirm all of this, and we will see that not everything has been fulfilled. And most probably all of us knows that there are many things that needs to be fulfilled yet. But I want to take some examples just to establish what we are talking now. So there are some promises from YaHuWaH that is going to be fulfilled through Yahushua, and those promises are not has not been fulfilled yet. So we have several passages here that we will take a look quite fast, and we will see some of these promises that throughout the entire scripture you can see here, starting from the Torah till Revelation, that has not been fulfilled yet. So let's start with the first one. This is in the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, the book of Devarim, chapter 30, verse 1 to 10. "And we saw from Yahushua the writings from Moshe, from Bereshit till Revelation, his own revelation from Elohim, is bearing witness of Yahushua, and is the spirit of prophecy." So we will start from the Torah. So Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1 to 10, and it says the following. And it shall be when all these words come upon you, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and you shall bring them back to your heart among all the nations where YaHuWaH your Elohim drives you, and shall turn back to YaHuWaH. We need to do teshuvah, come back to YaHuWaH your Elohim, and obey his voice, and obey him. We see important keys here in order to understand what we need to do in these last days. According to all that I command you today, with all your heart and with all your being, you and your children, then, only then, YaHuWaH your Elohim shall turn back your captivity, and shall have compassion on you, and he shall turn back and gather you from all the peoples, where YaHuWaH your Elohim has scattered you. So we see an amazing prophecies about the dispersion of the tribes of Israel in the four corners of the earth. And Moshe is talking in prophecy here that when we do teshuvah, when we turn back to YaHuWaH with all our heart, with all our being, and we start to obey him. And what does it mean to obey him? Is to walk in his Torah, in his way. Just then he will turn back to us, and he will gather us from any place on the earth that we are. So let's continue in the verse 4. If any of you are driven out to the farthest parts under the Shamayim, from there YaHuWaH your Elohim does gather you, and from there he does take you. And YaHuWaH your Elohim shall bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he shall do good to you and increase you more than your fathers. And YaHuWaH your Elohim shall circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed to love YaHuWaH your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, so that you might live. And YaHuWaH your Elohim shall put all these curses on your enemies and on those who hate you, who persecuted you. And you shall turn back and obey the voice of YaHuWaH and do all his commands which I command you today. We will keep it until there. So we see these amazing prophecies about the return, the gathering of the 10 lost tribes of Israel, and not only the 10 tribes, it's the entire Israel being gathered together from all the corners of the earth and bringing back to the land, the promised land. And this is basically a prophecy about the second great Exodus that is coming, that we will try to talk about this as part of this series as well. So we see that this has not yet happened. So it's something that needs to be fulfilled, and we know that through Yahushua this is going to be fulfilled, because he is going to perform the harvest. He will gather all his people. So let's continue and let's go to Divrei Hayamim Aleph. This is First Chronicles. Divrei Hayamim Aleph, First Chronicles, chapter 17, verse 9 to 14. Divrei Hayamim Aleph, First Chronicles, chapter 17, verse 9 to 14. So this is basically the covenant between YaHuWaH and David. Read it in context when you have time, because this is a so amazing prophecy that it helps us to understand the role, the important role of Yahushua as Melech, as king. So it says the following in the verse 19. And I shall prepare a place for my people Israel, and plant them, and they shall dwell in a place for their own, and move no more. Move no more. And we know that Israel has been moving so far. They have not been planted forever in the land. Okay, this has not yet happened. Nor shall the sons of wickedness oppress them anymore, as at the first. We see that this has not yet happened as well, either. Since the time that I commanded rulers to be over my people Israel, and I have handled all your enemies, and I declare to you that YaHuWaH does build you a house. And it shall be when your days are filled to go to be with your fathers, that I shall raise up your seed after you, who is of your sons, and I shall establish his reign. He does build me a house, and I shall establish his throne forever. Is the throne of the son of David established forever so far? No yet, because he's not reigning in the earth. And we know that the one fulfilling this prophecy is Yahushua. Let's continue in the verse 13. I am to be his father, and he is to be my son. My loving commitment I do not turn away from him, as I took it from him who was before you. And I shall establish him in my house and in my reign forever, and let his throne be established forever. We know that Yahushua is the one that is going to be fulfilling this prophecy, and we know today that the throne of David has not yet been established eternally, and this is what's going to happen with the second coming of Yahushua. This is a prophecy, a promise from YaHuWaH that we are still waiting to be fulfilled. So let's go to Daniel, the book of Daniel, chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2, verse 44. The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 44. And it's written like this, and this is the dream from the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. And it says the following in the verse 44. And in the days of the sovereigns, this is the interpretation that Daniel provided to the king about his dream. And in the days of the sovereigns, the Elah of the Shamayim shall set up a rain which shall never be destroyed, nor the rain passed on to other people. It crushes and puts to an end all these rains, and it shall stand forever. We know this is talking about the Malchut Hashamayim, the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Elohim, being established on the earth. And we know that his kingdom, his Malchut, and we know that Yahushua is going to be the Melech, the king of this kingdom, has not yet been established on earth. And this is one of the important keys on the entire prophecies of the last days. The kingdom of heaven, the Malchut Hashamayim being established on earth. And this is something that is still pending to happen. Okay? Let's go to the book of YaHuWaH. Book of YaHuWaH, chapter 24, verse 29 and 30. Book of YaHuWaH, 24, verse 29 and 30. And it says the following. This is the important prophecy on the Mount of Olives from Yahushua. Verse 29 says the following. And immediately after the distress of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from the Shamayim, and the powers of the Shamayim shall be shaken. And then the sign of the Ben Adam, the son of Adam, shall appear in the heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn, and they shall see the son of Adam, Ben Adam, coming on the clouds of the Shamayim with power and much steam. We know that he's talking about his second coming, the second coming of Yahushua to the earth. And this is something that is still pending and has not happened, and we are waiting for this with all our heart to happen very soon. So let's continue in the book of YaHuHanan. Book of John, chapter 6, verse 40. YaHuHanan, chapter 6, verse 40. And it says the following. And this is the desire of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him should possess everlasting life, and I shall raise him up in the last days. So he's talking about resurrection, and he's talking about eternal life. And we know that we have no eternal life yet. This is going to happen when he's coming back, and he's going to transform our bodies to an incorruptible body, and we will see also the resurrection of the dead. So this is something that is still pending. It's a promise from YaHuWaH that Yahushua himself will fulfill, and we will see it with our own eyes. So let's go to Thessalonican Bet. This is 2 Thessalonians. Thessalonican Bet, 2 Thessalonians, chapter 4, verse 17. Sorry, I think I made a mistake here as well. Is the 1 Thessalonian. It's 1 Thessalonian, not 2 Thessalonian. 1 Thessalonian chapter 4, verse 17. Thessalonican Aleph, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 17. And it says the following: Then we, the living who are left over, shall be caught away together with them in the clouds to meet the Master in the air, and so we shall always be with the Master. So we know that the entire chapter here, and especially this verse, is talking about the final trumpet, the resurrection, and the so-called rapture that has not yet been happened. So we will talk about the rapture, and we will analyze this in the later on this study. So I know that there are so many theories here, and we will cover it with details in this study, when this rapture will happen and what is it about. But the point here is that we see in this prophecy from Shaul that this has not yet happened. So this is also a promise from YaHuWaH by the inspiration of the Ruach HaKodesh in Shaul, that we know that this is going to happen in the near future. And the last point here is in the book of Jason, chapter 21. This is Revelation, chapter 21, verse 1. Jason, Revelation, chapter 21, verse 1. It says the following: And I saw a renewed heaven and a renewed earth, for the former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea is no more. So we know, as part of the prophecies and the promises of YaHuWaH, that He will create this creation, this Shamayim and this earth again. It's going to be a renewed Shamayim, a renewed earth, because the former has passed away, and we know that the former has not passed away yet. So everything, all these promises has not yet been fulfilled. So we know that the witness of Yahushua is truth, and we need to rely on his witness in order to understand and have the proper interpretation of the prophecies. So let's look to an example how to use the witness of Yahushua in order to have the proper interpretation of the prophecies. And you know, there is an amazing promise for protection during the last days. So we will use this example just to put in practice the witness of Yahushua. So let's first take a look in the book of Jason. This is in the chapter 3. This is Revelation in the chapter 3, verse 10. And this is the message for the 7 assemblies, and this message is for the assembly of Philadelphia. It's an important and so amazing promise for the assembly in Philadelphia. And it says the following in the verse 10: Because you have guarded my word of endurance, I also shall guard you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon all the world to try those who dwell on the earth. So there is a promise of protection during the hour of trial for the assembly of Philadelphia. So how we can confirm this protection to this specific group of people? And you know, there's an important key here. Those who's going to be protected, those that has been guarded his word, those are going to be protected from the hour of trial. So we're using the witness of Yahushua in the entire scripture. We can find a second witness of this. So let's move to the book of Yeshayahu. This is Isaiah, book of Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 26, verse 20 and 21. Yeshayahu chapter 26, verse 20 and 21, and it says the following: Go, my people, enter your rooms, and shut your doors behind you. Hide yourself, as it were, for a little while, until the displeasure is past. For look, YaHuWaH is coming out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their crookedness, and the earth shall disclose her blood and no longer cover her killed ones. So YaHuWaH is talking about the Nabi Yeshayahu, saying that we need to enter our rooms, we need to close the doors, shut the doors behind us, we need to hide ourselves for a little while until the displeasure of YaHuWaH, his day of wrath, has passed. So we see the correlation here, the promise of protection, and also he is talking to us that we need to hide ourselves during this period of time. So let's look for a third witness, and this is in the book of Zephaniah. This is Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. It's the book of Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. And it says the following: Gather together, O nation without shame, before the law gives birth. You remember one of the key we saw in the previous study about this is using a comparison of a woman being pregnant with all the pains because she's almost ready to give birth. So we see also the connection here. The verse 2, it says, Before the law gives birth, the day shall pass on like chaff, before the burning wrath of YaHuWaH comes upon you. Again, it's talking about the same thing that we saw in Revelation, the hour of trial on the world, the same thing that we saw in Yeshayahu about the displeasure of YaHuWaH, that we need to hide ourselves during that period of time. He's talking exactly the same thing here, before the burning wrath of YaHuWaH comes upon you, before the day of wrath of YaHuWaH comes upon you. Verse 3 said the following: Seek YaHuWaH, all you meek ones of the earth, who have done his right ruling. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. And we remember what we saw in the book of Revelation, the promise to Philadelphia, because they guarded the word of YaHuWaH, the word of endurance. That's why they're going to receive protection. And we see exactly the same here. I'm going to read it again, verse 3. Seek YaHuWaH, all you meek ones of the earth, who have done his right ruling, the Mishpatim, the right ruling of YaHuWaH. Seek righteousness is the same thing that Yahushua is talking to us and teaching us. The first thing we need to seek is the kingdom of YaHuWaH and his righteousness. Let's continue. Seek meekness, and it says the following: If so be that you are hidden in the day of wrath of YaHuWaH. We see an amazing confirmation for what is the promise to the assembly of Philadelphia. Okay, and there is an interesting text chapter in the book of Tehillim Psalms. This is the chapter 91 that all of us know about this, and this is an amazing promise as well, that we were in the shadow of YaHuWaH. We will be protected, no matter that we are going through the valleys of the shadow of death. He's going to be with us. So this is also a confirmation of the promise of YaHuWaH, and it's the proper way. Remember, this is an example. It's the proper way to find the proper interpretation, the right interpretation, the correct interpretation of the prophecies, using the Ruach of the prophecy, the witness of Yahushua. So this is the part number 2. Part number 3, we will start with the timeline, talking about the prophecy at the Mount of Olives, but this is going to be a new video. So please review this video again. Please understand the message, your own due diligence, your own research. It is important to understand that using the prophecy, the spirit of the prophecy, the Ruach of the prophecy, that is the witness of Yahushua throughout the entire scriptures, is the only way to have the proper interpretation and the proper understanding of the prophecies, without having any confusion, without going astray, just to rely on YaHuWaH and his truth, using the witness of Yahushua. And this is what we're going to use throughout the entire study, the series, when we see the timeline and the sequence of the events. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any question, send me the email and I will answer as much as I can any question you can have. So again, thank you for watching this video. Have an excellent day and an excellent week, and YaHuWaH be with you all. Tuah.